So we're about to tour the facilities and I'm hoping that Mr. Hammond will put it in the best light. But however, before we go on this trip, I wanted to review why we are all here, which is and also what I need to decide before we leave. Basically, as you realize now, we are in an island which is filled with genetically engineered dinosaurs who have been allowed to move in a natural park-like setting, forming a tourist attraction. However, the tourist attraction is not open yet, but hopefully will be in about a year. Now, the real question is, which concerns us all, is this island safe? Is it safe for visitors? Can we trust Mr. Hammond to safely contain these beasts without them escaping from the island? So there are two pieces of evidence which we have to deal with. First off, there is Dr. Grant's identification of a previously unknown dinosaur on the Costa Rican mainland. This dinosaur is known from a partial fragment. It was found in July of this year after it was supposedly bit on an American girl on a beach. Dr. Grant can tell you more later. I've asked for the original fragment, which is currently in a lab in New York, to be flown here, so that we can inspect it directly. Meanwhile, there is a second piece of evidence. Costa Rica has an excellent medical service and tracks all different kinds of data. Beginning in March, there were reports of lizards biting the old people who were sleeping soundly. These lizard bites were also sporadically reported in coastal villages from Ismaelia to Ponteveras. After March, lizard bites were no longer reported. However, I do have this graph from the Public Health Service in San Jose of infant mortality in the towns of the West Coast earlier this year. I direct your attention to the features of the graph. First off, the infant mortality is low in the months of January and February, then spikes in March. It's low again in April, but from May onward it is high, right through July, the month that the American girl was bitten. The Public Health Service feels that something is now affecting the infant mortality. The second is the puzzling bi-weekly spiking, which seems to suggest that some kind of alternating phenomenon is at work. That's the evidence I wanted to explain. Now, are there any questions?
I'll explain it to you, alright?
You will?
The animals have very likely gotten off the island. And the graph from the Public Health Service have very, very unlikely to have any relation to the animals from the island.
How do you know that?
And the graph also alternates between various levels of spikes and characteristics from highs to lows, almost kind of like a tap, like a faucet tap, just dripping, tap, dripping, sort of thing. You see what I mean, people? You see what I'm meaning here? Like a tap. But if you open the floodgates, then there will be a various flow of turbulence. It's going to change. You people understand that it's a signature. One.
But why do you say it's not caused by escaped dinosaurs?
Because look here, it's a nonlinear signature. You see, in order for the fluctuations that we're getting here, hundreds of dinosaurs will need to have escaped the island. I don't think they have. So what you're dealing with here is some kind of an unexplained phenomenon, which I don't think we've quite gotten to the bottom of yet. And I'd be concerned.
But you do think the dinosaurs have escaped?
Probably. Yes.
Why?
Because of what you're attempting here. This island is an attempt to recreate a living environment of extinct animals, to have them isolated in a world where extinct creatures roam freely. Correct? But from my point of view, such an undertaking is impossible. It's the mathematics are so obvious. I don't even need a calculator to do the workings. It's like on a $1 billion income, I need to pull out a calculator and see if I owe tax. I know that I owe it. Okay, so and that's the exact same thing here. But you're trying to do on a massive scale with nature, and it's a system that I think is just impossible.
Why not? There are, after all, zoos.
But zoos don't recreate nature. Let's be honest about this. Zoos don't take pre-existing nature and modify it. They create pens for pre-existing animals to exist, and we've seen that doesn't even that even fails sometimes. That doesn't work. So what makes you think that this will? But a zoo is not a model for this park. What you're doing here is far more ambitious.
I don't understand.
It's very simple, really. Apart from the air we're breathing right now, nothing was meant to get off this island. Nothing in, nothing out. This is an isolated system with animals that are kept here because they were never meant to coexist with the outside world. The animals aren't meant to get off this island. I don't get you people. Such isolation cannot be done. It's impossible. Okay, it's not meant to be done.
But it can be done. It's done all the time.
I beg your pardon, but sir, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you.
No, you don't get to say a word about this because the dinosaurs are
can't tell me how to
when
run
things
my
happen
park.
bad, when things go wrong here, you
don't know
understand.
anything
No,
about
you
the
don't
running
understand
of it.
a
You've
word
never
of what
done
you're
this
talking
before.
about.
No.
You're dealing with forces you
No.
can't understand.
Gentlemen, please.
I'm sorry, but this thing we call nature is just a simplified word for a far more complex system of subtleties. You see, I don't know how many times we have to see this happen. I'm no environmentalist, people, but wasn't when the Aswan Dam was constructed. It claimed it was going to revitalize the country, but instead it destroys the fertility of the land and wrecks the Egyptian economy.
What does this have to do with the safety of the park, Malcolm?
Well, this is chaos theory. What we think we know and can control is completely out of our control, people. I mean, take for example a ping pong ball. You may roll it across the table, and you may think that you know exactly where it's gonna go, but the second time you do it, it'll go on a completely different course because the indentations on the ball, the tiny little minute details which you can't control, will alter the course of it, and that's what's happening here.
I'm sorry, Malcolm. I still don't understand what you mean.
What I mean is the small things that you think are in your control are entirely the opposite, and it's that kind of logic that's going to make sure this place fails.
So you 100% believe that the animals have gone onto the mainland?
Yes, and I very much believe we are in danger on this island.